What is up, everybody? Coming back at you with the second video of the series. Today, we are going to be covering the Boston Celtics. So, we had to bring out the beanie, we had to bring out the jersey. Celtics are my team, so I'm super excited to cover them. And to get us started, I think we got to talk about probably the biggest development in the offseason. We saw Danny Ainge leave the front office after he's been there since at least the 90s, maybe earlier. But we see him leave the front office. We see our head coach, Brad Stevens, move up and fill that position. And we bring in Ime Udoka as our new head coach. Udoka's coached under Greg Popovich. So I think almost any coach that is coached under Greg Popovich is probably ready to fill some kind of head coaching role somewhere. So I have faith in Udoka. I really hope that he can lead this team well. It sounds like the players have gotten along with him great during the offseason. And it sounds like he's really going to push this team to be the best that they can possibly be. So getting into the players, we got Jayson Tatum. You got to talk about him to start off the Boston Celtics. He's the centerpiece of this team. He is still under 25 years old, which is insane. I believe he's only 22. And having a superstar at 22 years old is just amazing. But this dude went out and dropped a 50 bomb in the playoffs against the NBA super team, Brooklyn Nets. And he's just shown throughout his career so far that he has what it takes to be an MVP in this league. And as a bold prediction, I do think that he's going to finish top 3 in MVP voting this season. I know there's a lot of great players in the NBA that are going to make that tough for him. But I really do think he finishes in that top 3 this season. He just keeps taking strides to be better and better. And if you followed him at all during this offseason, there's been workout pictures and stuff that have been posted of him, and it looks like he's put on even more muscle, defined his body a little bit more. And like I said, we saw him drop 50 in a playoff game, so the confidence is there. This dude's just going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come. Now, for the Robin to Jayson Tatum's Batman, you got Jalen Brown, first-time All-Star last season. That's the jersey I'm wearing. He's from Marietta, Georgia, which is where I was born at. So, I had to support him no matter what. It was just fate that he ended up on my team. But absolutely love watching Jalen Brown. Had a career season last year, which got him on that All-Star team. But unfortunately, his season ended a little early due to some injuries, mainly a wrist injury. And that's what shut him out for the season. He went and got surgery on that. Hopefully he's fully healed up from that. And I saw a report today that apparently he was also dealing with some knee issues, but he was trying to play through those. So hopefully now that he's had this whole offseason, he's had time to recover, rest, rehab, whatever he needs to do, and we can get a fully healthy Jaylen Brown next year. Because if we get to pair him and Jayson Tatum back together, you got 2 guys that can drop 25, 30 a game on any given night. And they just play so well off of each other. They've been nicknamed by some people Fire and Ice just because they're kind of polar opposite personalities. The way they play is a little bit different. But I'm super excited to watch this duo play, hopefully for years to come as a Celtics fan. The next guy you got to talk about, which has been here for years, is Marcus Smart. He's the longest tenured player on the team. And this dude is just so fun to watch. He's not going to go out there and drop 30 a game for you. But he's going to go out there and maybe get you like 15, and he's going to get you like 5 steals and 3 blocks, and he's going to stuff that stat sheet up, and he's going to be hustling all over the court all night long. He is an incredible dude to watch. He's exactly what this team needs with Tatum and Brown there. Like I said, they're a little bit younger. Smart's got years in the league under his belt, and he knows what to do, and he knows how to hustle, and he knows how to grind, and he really made his own way in the NBA. But he's, like I said, he's so fun to watch. He got a contract extension this offseason, so the Celtics kind of rewarding him for what he's done there and showing that they want to keep him around for more years. The next guy you got to talk about, also going to be in the starting lineup with the previously 3 mentioned guys, is Robert Williams. We saw him progress a little bit more last season. He got up to 18 minutes a game, and the dude is just so fun to watch. He's got rockets on his shoes. He can jump through the roof, and and it's just insane. He can go up there and catch a lob that's 3 feet away from the rim and put it in there. He's going to go up there and swat a shot on the biggest dude on the court. Um, and that's just what he does. He is so crazy athletic that it makes him good at basketball. Even if he had absolutely no touch at all, his athleticism would keep him in the league alone. I'm hoping that we get to see him play somewhere around 25 minutes a game because, like I said, he got up to 18 minutes, but he's never eclipsed the 20-minute per game mark. I hope that we get to see him play around 25 because his production, if you look at it and look at some like per 36 numbers or per 100 possessions, the dude's absolutely insane. His per 100 numbers, he puts up about 22 points a game, I believe it was, and 17 rebounds, and that's some baby Wilt Chamberlain numbers right there. So if we can get this dude playing some more minutes, he's going to be absolutely insane to see. The next thing I want to talk about with this team is the youth that they have on this team. Like I mentioned, Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown are both young. They're both going to be 25 or younger coming into the season, which is ridiculous because, like I said, Jayson Tatum's already close to an MVP candidate. And you've got this dude that's 22, 23 years old. And then Jalen Brown's going to be turning 25 going into the season. But he's another dude. He just got his first All-Star nod. And we're going to be able to keep these dudes together for years to come, hopefully. And then you got some more guys. Robert Williams, still a young player, working on, like I said, just getting more minutes, getting healthier, and hoping that his condition doesn't keep him off the floor. And then you got some younger guys that are more some bench pieces, role players with Peyton Pritchard, Aaron Neesmith, Grant Williams, Romeo Langford. Pritchard, I think, is the most NBA ready of these guys right now. Just the way he plays, he's another guy that really wants to hustle on defense. And he can distribute the ball a little bit. Aaron Neesmith, though, is the one that I'm most excited for out of that little group that I mentioned at the end there. Neesmith shot 37% from three-point land last year, and that was as a rookie. So, now that he's got a year in the NBA under his belt, he's even got some playoff experience. But now that he has that under his belt, I hope he can come into this next season and be even more confident in his shot, know how to pick his spots. And we could potentially see him in his second year, maybe eclipse 40% from three-point range, which would be absolutely nasty to have behind Tatum and Brown. For the last two guys that I mentioned, Grant Williams and Romeo Langford, these are some guys that have been kind of iffy in Boston. Langford's only played 50 games in 2 seasons. There's 82 games in a season, so he's barely even played over half the games that he's been in the league for, which is not a good look. And then when he has played, he hasn't really been uber efficient at all. And then Grant Williams was a guy that really shined his rookie year. People thought he was going to be great, or at least a great role player. And then he comes out the next season and he doesn't look good at all. He looks slow. He's not a good shooter. So he's not a good defender because he's slow, like I mentioned. So we'll see what happens with these two guys. I really feel like they become trade bait later in the season, but we'll see. As for our off season, we made some moves. We signed Schroeder. We signed Enes Kanter. We traded for Al Horford, traded for Josh Richardson, traded for Juan Hernan Gomez, and what can I say? Brad Stevens moves into the office and he starts making moves right away. So that's something I love to see. I love to see a little bit of movement. Obviously, I don't want to see any like massive moves that are going to send Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown away or something. But I do like seeing these role players and stuff get moved around just to kind of help that team from top to bottom. And I really feel like this roster did improve this offseason from what we had last year. Dennis Schroeder's a former Sixth Man of the Year. He can really come in and bring that electricity off the bench that we need, that spark off the bench. He averaged almost 20 a game as a sixth man. So if we can get that in here and still have that solid bench unit when Tatum and Brown come off the floor, that's going to be something incredible. I feel like Josh Richardson is probably, I don't know if he's going to be starting or if he's going to be coming off the bench because there have been rumors of him starting at shooting guard. But there's also been rumors of him coming off the bench. So we'll see what happens there. But Richardson's a 3-and-D guy. I think he can play nicely next to Tatum and Brown, and everyone else in the starting lineup, Marcus Smart, because he can go out there and play some solid defense. He can knock down some threes, but he's not really your volume scorer like he was in Miami. I believe his second, third year there. However, I don't know exactly what to expect from Richardson because he did get a little more inconsistent last year in Dallas, so we'll see what happens there. Enes Kanter that I mentioned, he comes back to Boston, as well as Al Horford. Both of them had previous stints in Boston. They left, and now they are back. We'll see what they can do. Both guys, we really need that post presence from them, so hopefully they can come in, grab some boards for us, block some shots, because that's really what we need. And then Hernan Gomez is another guy that I think they're expecting to come in, grab some boards, maybe knock down a couple of threes because he can stretch the floor a little bit. Not the most consistent shooter, but he can stretch the floor for a big man. So we'll see what we have with all them. Hopefully this team dynamic becomes better. Like I said, I do really think that this team has improved from last season. Last thing I want to mention before I get into the season predictions is that I think there's a big trade coming for this team. I don't know when, obviously before the All-Star break or before the deadline, because we've got I believe, $17 million trade exception from trading Evan Fournier in the sign-in trade to the Knicks this offseason. And then we've got contracts that can easily be moved, like Al Horford, because his whole next season is not guaranteed on his deal. So if a team wants to trade for him, use him for this year, and then cut him, they can without any penalty. So we got that. And like I mentioned, we got some young pieces like Grant Williams, Langford, even Nee Smith or Pritchard could be moved if needed. But I do really feel like there's a big trade coming for this team at some point. So for our season predictions for this team, they were 36-36 last season. I expect them to take a jump and finish around 48 wins. I know I would be satisfied with that as a Celtics fan. That's basically a guaranteed playoff spot. And I would love to see the team finish around there or higher, obviously. But that's around where I feel like this team finishes. I think they're going to have a little bit of a slow start to the season, as they've got to make sure they get things worked out. Udoka's got to make sure he's got his rotations worked out and everything. So I expect a slower start to the season, but I think they ramp it up later on. And I see about a second round exit for this team too, like I said with the Hawks. I do think that this team is very top heavy. And I just don't know how great the bench performs when Tatum and Brown are off the floor. So we'll see what happens with them. But I do see about a second round exit. I'd love to see Eastern Conference Finals or even a championship run. But if I'm being realistic, I don't see that happening this season. So that is it. Next episode, we got the Brooklyn Nets coming up, the first big super team that we get to talk about. So tune in for that one. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It helps out so much. It really does. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.